Today I'm going to teach you the 4-step process to manifest your dream partner. And I can say this absolutely works because it worked for me to manifest my dream partner. I did this 1 month before I met my now husband, and I invested in a lot of different courses and a lot of different programs on how to manifest your dream partner, because honestly it was one of my biggest fears that I wouldn't find someone who aligned with all the values I wanted. And it became a thing in my life where I was like, oh no, what if I just have to settle? And I've never been someone to settle. So I promise you do not have to settle. There's someone out there who's meant for you. You just need a process to kind of bring them in, which I'm sure you've heard of the law of attraction before, and how you need to work on yourself before you can bring in a partner. And this is true. So I'm going to teach you exactly what I did. This is my journal from 2020. And like I said, I did a bunch of different methods, but this is the exact one that worked for me. And a month later, I met my husband, and it was love at first sight. Fell in love within a couple days, and now we are married almost 4 years later. So I want people to take action. I want you to find your partner because I know how beautiful experience it can be, and I know sometimes we'll just watch a video on YouTube and we won't actually take action. So we're gonna take action today. We're gonna do this together. So go ahead and grab a notebook and a pen and pause this video and come back. Okay, you have your pen? Awesome. All right, so you can see this is December 27th, 2020. 2020 crazy year for everyone. So the first step we're going to do is we're going to become super clear on what we want, right? So we're going to take a couple minutes and we're going to write down everything we're looking for in a partner. And I want you to be very intentional about this and very detailed, and really step into your heart and ask your heart what you're looking for, because you want to make sure you're being authentic with what you're writing down, and you're calling in the partner that actually is meant for you, and not really writing down things that you think you want or things that people have told you you want, but actually things you truly want. I'm going to give you some examples of what I said. My first one was someone who wants to grow together and support each other in our individual growth. So I have been someone who always is trying to improve, get better than yesterday, and it was super important to find someone who did the same. So that was my number one. My number two was someone who is fun and likes adventure and wants to live an eventful life. Again, I like to do activities. I like to travel. I like to have fun. I like adrenaline. And I needed a partner who wanted to do this with me and didn't hold me back. So those were my two main ones. And then my third one was someone who is empathetic, who cares about others and the planet. And this was huge for me because I'm super passionate about giving back. One of the reasons I started YouTube, because I want other people to just really live a beautiful life. That's what we're being called to do. So I wanted someone who wanted the same and wanted to give back. And while a lot of people say that, it's not necessarily true. So those were my top three. I'm only saying these so you can get examples of what you want, what your heart calls in, because we're all different, and what you want is gonna be very different than what I want. So we're gonna take a quick pause on this video. I'm gonna play some nice music, and I'm gonna give you about 4 to 5 minutes to become super clear on what you want. So I would title this page, My Partner. You can title it whatever you want, my soulmate, my twin flame, my husband, whatever word aligns with you. And then you're gonna write, become super clear on what I want. And then underneath that, do some bullet points. Okay, so we're gonna take a break and you're gonna do this now, and then we'll come back for the second step. Okay, awesome. So the second part of this, while I don't like to use any negativity in manifesting, we are going to write down a few things that are deal breakers for you. And this is going to tell the universe, God, goddess, whatever you define it, that this is not what you're looking for. And you're going to write down some deal breakers. And try not to make these negative. Try to keep everything positive. But if you can't think of the right wording for it not to be negative, that's fine. Just make sure you're very intentional about what your deal breakers are. For me, it was not into health. Again, health is super important for me. I wanted someone who would also be into that and we could hold each other accountable. And then I put someone who doesn't want kids. I've always wanted kids and that was super important to me, so it's a deal breaker to me to not have someone with kids. So go ahead, we're gonna take 2 minutes. Don't wanna focus too much on deal breakers, but we do need to set the intention of these kind of behaviors, these kind of belief systems I don't want. So we're gonna take about 2 to 3 minutes now and you're gonna write down all your deal breakers. So just write deal breakers on the top in a new page and write down a couple things of what you are not calling in. Okay, so now you have everything you're looking for in a partner and you have everything that you're not necessarily wanting to call in. You're very intentional on what you are asking for. So the second part of this is you are going to create a plan of how you're going to call this in. Many manifestation techniques just tell you to write down what you want and then they don't take action on it, but you have to take action. You have to show that you're willing to do something to receive this, because reciprocity, everything in life, you have to give to receive. So we're going to create a plan of how you're going to get your partner. So this is step 2. So you're going to need to think about what you're committed to calling in your partner. And what I mean by this is, what are some habits or some beliefs or actions you're doing daily that is preventing you from bringing in your dream partner? So maybe that is that you're not going out, you're not involving yourself in communities where you would meet someone. Maybe that means you're not wanting to be vulnerable, you're not wanting to put yourself out there. There's many different ways this can look like, and this is going to take a little bit of thought and reflection and a little bit of intention to realize what you're doing that is stopping you from bringing in your partner. So I'm going to give you a couple examples of what I said I would release or what I would change. So my first one was, I will let go of not putting myself out there for fear of getting hurt or damaging my ego. So again, I wouldn't put myself out there a lot. I didn't like the feeling of rejection, which most of us don't, but that's life. You get rejected a lot. You're gonna get told no a lot more times before you say yes. So that was my first one on here. And then another problem I had was I was very judgmental, and it's still something I'm actually working through. But I said to the universe, I will work on seeking to understand someone prior to judging them. And then I wrote, I will read The Judgment Detox, which is a great book, highly recommend it. And I did this. I worked on not being judgmental, and I also read that book. So I have a couple more things here. So I want you to reflect on what you could do today to start bringing in your partner. And is that you'll make a step to go out more? Is that a step that you'll make an effort to change something about yourself? Maybe you're super closed off. Maybe you're not willing to make the first move. Maybe you're like I was, very judgmental, so you're just judging instantly instead of understanding. There's a lot of different reasons that we could be unconsciously shutting away partnerships, and that's going to take a little bit of time for you to reflect on. So in this next section, you're going to write down 3 to 5 things that you're willing to do to call in your partner, and that is going to take action by you, and that's going to take some initiative. So go ahead, sit with yourself, look inward, and ask yourself, what are you doing right now that's not in alignment and that's in alignment with you finding your partner? And ask yourself what you're willing to do to change this. Is it to read a book? Is it to join a group? Is it to finally get some therapy done? Is it to address some toxic relationships? Is it to set boundaries? There's a lot of things that we can do that are signs of the universe that we're ready to call in the right person. Okay, so while we take a break to write down your plan and what you're committing to doing, a good journal prompt to write down and ask yourself is, what habit or something I still hold on to doesn't allow me to step into relationships? And this is a good thing to realize when you're writing down what you're willing to let go of. And I'm going to be a little vulnerable and share my story, but I wrote, I will let go of past relationships and will say goodbye to future relationships that do not align with my goals. So what I meant by this is that I would still keep in touch with exes. I would still hang out with flings, even though I knew that they weren't my right person, because we're all bored, right? We want someone to hang out with. And this was not in alignment of calling in my person. Because if I was gonna call in my right person, I couldn't be hanging out with old flings or hanging out with old relationships, because that's showing to the universe that you're not ready for your relationship. So go ahead and take 3 to 5 minutes now. Write down that journal prompt and take some time to figure out what your plan is and what you're going to do. What actions are you going to step into and take to show the universe, God, Goddess, yourself that you're ready for a relationship? Okay, let's take that break. Okay, we're back. So we've got everything we're looking for in a partner, what we're not willing to accept, our plan to get this partner, what we're committed to doing, and what habits or something we're willing to let go of to bring that partner in. The third step is the real juice of this, because you're gonna put a date that you will find your partner. And you're gonna write this in your journal. And this is telling the universe the exact date that you will have this by, right? You're your own little witch, your own little wizard, casting a spell for your partner to come to you. So I wrote, by this date, June 17th, 2022, I will be in a relationship that is constantly growing, learning, adventuring, and spreading love to the world. This relationship will excite my body and soul. I will get this relationship by giving up my ego, my habit of judging, and being defensive. So that's a whole thesis statement, right? And we're gonna write that thesis statement together. And the first part of this is you're gonna choose your date. So just sit with yourself. If you're into numerology, maybe you make a date that makes sense to you. Mine was 6/9. That doesn't really make sense, 2022, but you know what they say about 69. Just kidding. So choose a date that feels aligned, and don't overthink it. Just sit, relax your heart. What date feels good? I put this date out pretty far because this was it was like 2.5 years from when I wrote this manifestation, and I met my partner a month later. So maybe you don't put it out that long, maybe you do. It kind of depends on what your timeline and what kind of things you're willing to give up, how much time it takes into it. You could use that logical point, or you could just choose a date that feels good to you, which is what I did because I'm a very much feeling-based person. So one, we're gonna choose the date, and then we're gonna create a thesis statement of what we're wanting to call in. So I put, I will be in a relationship that is constantly growing, right? Because that was one of my first ones. Learning, another one. Adventuring and spreading love. So like I said before, I said I wanted someone who is empathetic, who likes to have fun and adventure, and who wants to grow together. So I put that in my first sentence. Okay, so I want you to do this. By this date, blank, your first date, I will be in a relationship that is blah, 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 blank for you. And then my second sentence was, this relationship will excite my body and soul. So you're gonna write the type of relationship you're gonna be in, what this relationship will do for you, and then the third and final piece of this thesis is how you will get into this relationship. And I wrote, I will get into this relationship by giving up my ego, my habit of judging, and being defensive. Whew, okay? So that's your thesis. That's your almost little spell that you're gonna say over and over and over again until you convince your subconscious mind, right? Because we all know the power of our subconscious mind, that this is true. And you believe it's true, because that's also a part of manifesting. So I have in my notes here to read out loud in the morning and night every day. So if you are a star student, A+ student, read out loud in the morning before you go to bed and when you wake up. Have this journal right next to your bed. If you just want to do it a couple times, that's fine too, but the mission is just to get a thesis on here and start saying it, start convincing yourself it's true, because the first part to manifestation, which we've talked about before and we'll talk about it in future videos, is you have to believe it. You have to believe it. Why would anyone else believe it if you don't, okay? And then I'll write a little note I have here, is the mission is to get aligned. This isn't about getting the relationship, it is becoming an aligned version of myself. Whew, that's deep, right? This work isn't necessarily about getting in a relationship. This work is about becoming an aligned version of yourself. And when you're an aligned version of yourself, you're gonna call in your highest calling. Your twin flame, your soulmate, whatever you wanna call it, right? And together you create that beautiful sacred union, which we'll talk about more on this channel with my partner, because once you find a relationship, it's beautiful, but then you also have to work to keep it, as we know with the divorce rate in our society. So that is the 4-step process on partner manifestation. Pretty easy, right? So now we're gonna take a couple minutes, because again, this channel is about taking action, and you're gonna write down your date, you're gonna write down what kind of relationship you will be in, how this relationship will make you feel, and then what you will do to get in this relationship, what you will let go of, what you will learn, what you will do. Okay, so take some couple minutes to write down your thesis, your spell, your chant, your mantra, whatever you want to call it, but this is your relationship mantra. So go ahead, take 4 minutes to do that now. Okay, you got it? Awesome. The fun part starts now. Every morning and every night, you're gonna have your journal by your bed and you're gonna read your thesis statement, okay? And you're gonna watch magic unfold in front of your very eyes. So I wrote this entry on 12/29/20, and in my journal, I have my journal entry about meeting my now husband. This happened very fast, and then I go on and on, which I probably will share our story at a later time because it is a beautiful one. I never believed in love at sight. I definitely didn't believe in when you know, because I just never had that feeling. And I saw my husband, he saw me, and we just knew. And he told his mom like within 2 days that he was gonna marry me, and we got married. So this stuff is true, it works. It's as old as time, right? Writing down things, having a spell. That's why we all love the concept of witches, wizards, Harry Potter, because we know how powerful we are. We know we have the power to create spells and have magic happen. And what's more beautiful than calling in your highest match in life, right? Your highest match, your soul mate, your twin flame, whatever you want to call it. And this is a beautiful practice. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're new here, my name's Kaylee, and I've been guided to start a YouTube channel to share some wisdom that I've learned along the way. Once you get in a relationship, how you keep it with my partner talking about conscious coupling and the sacred union, because we're all learning in this together and we all need to support each other in this growth that we're going through as a collective. And again, to take action and to embody these practices, because if we just know them and we don't take action on them, there's no point in knowing them. So I really hope you took the time during this video to write down this all. You took those times to break, and you already have it now. Now you have one of the most powerful partner manifestations on the internet in life, and I know because it worked for me and I did my research before. If you like this video, please comment below what you liked about it, what you're looking for in a partner, and maybe you want to write down what you're willing to give up, what you're willing to do to bring your partner in, because another part of this is putting it out in the universe, being vulnerable to speak it online where everyone can see, so the universe knows you're authentic and you're actually truthful in this. Much love, everyone. Happy manifesting your dream partner.